NGX use a fair bit of reserve time here to try and respond with their own picks. They'll go for the Night Stalker. So this is the second time today we're seeing this hero pop up. I suppose in combination with the Grimstroke, it is very, very potent. It does a pretty darn decent job of catching the backline. So I think for this Morphling, because you've already got the counters with the AA, at least the Night Stalker can pop that ulti, find the AA, burst them down, and that way you may not necessarily have to think about the Ice Blast.
And it's probably the best way to handle it from NGX. Just have Mizu take care of that AA, and then the Morphling has free reign. You have really strong combinations with the Grimstroke. The double Fiend's Grip is here with the Soulbind, so you have a lot of control coming out from NGX, and they can kind of play around that. Of course, there is still the potential for the mid pick from NGX being the Ags synergy with a Morph, but Omega go into the Wraith King. We've seen the Wraith King work out already today from Jackie, and we'll see if they can replicate that here for Prince. It is looking like a really durable lineup from Omega though. You've got Wraith King, you've got Tide, Snapfire to an extent as well. And they can kind of just force the issue early on once they get that Armlet timing. Armlet and Desolator on the Wraith King is what we've been seeing frequently now. Once you hit that, you can just run around, get control, get the hits off, and not really worry about too much. You don't have to worry about line burning you. You don't have to worry about a PL with a Fusel running you down early on, at least assuming Morphling safely. And once more, if it is mid, there's still a possibility for that from NGX, but I feel like a Morphling mid is just too greedy. Like the one time we saw Morphling mid, it took a long time to really come online, and it just feels like you kind of need a faster mid nowadays. You just want something to buy space out, comes online fairly early in the mid game at least, and start running from there. So I think the ideal situation for NGX is still a different hero for Mikato. I do like seeing that NGX respect ban the Kunkka, so they don't want to give Mamangdai his comfort here. He had a really good time in that Kunkka laning phase. Like, Mikato was sort of struggling with that puck.
He was. I don't think it's going to be that easy of a game for him this time around anyway. I mean, you know, they've got the game plan, but it's not as easy to execute that. I wonder what Mamangdai is going to pick up in this mid lane. Because they get rid of the Kunkka. They're not going to allow him that comfort pick. I doubt we're seeing something like the mid Darkseid coming out, John. But, you know, you'd love to see it come out one more time before the night ends. Doesn't really seem to suit their draft, so I doubt we actually see it. But you never know, I guess. Mamangdai is an interesting fellow, interesting character into the mid lane.
I think it actually suits your lineup. Like
How?
Ravage, Vac Wall, Kisses coming out. The team fight's insane.
All right.
It's fairly greedy. At the same time, you can kind of just run around, Iron Shell the Wraith King, surge him up, have him run in, and do a lot of damage. Like, Iron Shell and Wraith King is probably one of the best combos because he's so tanky. You know, you get max value from that burn, and you can just kind of go from there. It also enables a Radiance Wraith King if you want that. Although, again, it's not something we see built up too often, and in the past times when we've seen Radiance Wraith King, it doesn't pay off, like in BTS Pro Series 8. So, likely not the move, but I would like the Darkseer. I think with Tide, with Snap, it does feel pretty good.
Okay.
Of course, it is slow. I think that's the issue. It's a bit slow tempo. Like, you're going to have to work for Ags, Blink. You kind of want your Shard. You want Guardian Greaves for durability. It's a lot of farm. And you already have Tide and Wraith King, which will also need some farm up. Probably not the best game for it, but if they were feeling brave, you know, Mamangdai could pull it out and have fun.
You never know, John. He might. NGX, one more pickup. We kind of assume it should be an In Your Dream Pos 1. He could still take the Morphling, and Omega, they did ban out 2 mid laners, so they don't seem to think it's going to be a mid Morphling here for NGX. And it won't be. The Queen of Pain flies out here from NGX. Now, that's a bit of a confusing one though, John. Like, where's this going? Is it Makoto? We know Mizu plays the offlane Quap as well. Though I haven't seen it in this meta, so maybe he doesn't like it. In fact, never mind, because he did tweet out, Mizu did specifically tweet out he was very unhappy with the state of Queen of Pain at the moment. So I doubt it's going to be an off-lane Quap. It should be the mid Quap from Makoto, which does mean that Kami-sama is taking the safe lane Morphling.
Yeah, I think that lines up. Like, Morphling's probably best safe lane. The Quap is fairly active. Omega go with a Viper to close out, so just giving themselves more early presence. Mamang Daya takes the Viper mid. So the mid matchup, Viper versus Quap, is pretty alright for the Viper. Queen of Pain can still kind of play around it with the Blink and Scream build. I don't think you get much value going for the Dagger. Your regen just kind of gets taken away by the burn on a poison attack. So that's likely the way to play for Mikato. I don't know, the Viper closeout from Omega, we've just seen a lot of Vipers and a lot of them don't work out. It's such a tempo-driven hero. It can come online fast, but the moment you miss your timings, you just don't do much. I think for a Viper to have impact, you do have to kind of build for scaling items, kind of go for a right-click sort of build. Most of the time we see a utility build from Vipers, and that means you really do have a sharp timing. So I think NGX comes out on top with the draft. Of course, the Viper can get control in the Morphling early on, so it looks like they might be banking on just overwhelming in your dream, taking away the win condition, and just getting really fast and really big team fights early on with a Ravage and Kisses coming out.
It certainly feels like a pretty tough game for a Morph, but see how NGX kind of play around him and try to give the space over to In Your Dream to get that farm up. Of course, Omega Esports, I think they've got a much simpler kind of draft to execute here with their own style. And I mean, last game, it did look like their game to lose, and unfortunately, they did lose it. See if they can kind of turn this one around in game number 2, as we are going to head right in to that game. You know what I've noticed, John? Every time we go through a draft, I kind of get a little bit sad. Because one of my favorite heroes, Hoodwink, just never gets banned, never gets picked up. And I feel kind of sick saying it's one of my favorites, but it is. You know, if you measure how many games I've played of the hero now, I think you can guess I do enjoy playing it quite a lot. It's just never considered though. Like as a new hero, to think that it just never gets picked up, and when it does, it's usually by like Thompson in the mid lane, and it just doesn't work anyway. Which is very sad.
It used to be really popular, right? You had your time last season. It has kind of faded off. It was pretty popular before, remember? There used to be like...
Oh, I don't.
What the hell is going on? Okay, so they're talking about CSGO, and Alacrity quit CSGO. That's why Paulson doesn't play. Oh no, you know what? This reminds me of TNC asking to CS right after these games.
Yeah.
Remember that? They were like, hey, let's go CS. Screw Dota. We're going to play the gun game. Yeah.
As long as it's not the other game, John. You know the one I'm talking about. The name that we shall not speak. Which team was it that said that name in game? I think it was TNC. Oh. No, it wasn't TNC, was it?
Was it T1?
It might have been T1.
I associate that name with T1 because that's what they were playing for a long time.
Terrible. Just terrible. Paulson. They haven't tried it, by the way, John. Just haven't tried it.
That's good. That's a mark of a sane individual. No! Goodness me, no.
No, absolutely.
I don't want that. I don't want that anti-cheat in my system. I am a very privacy-oriented person, Mike. I'm going to stay safe. We're going to see how safe the lanes are here as Omega, they run Van and Aaron on that off lane. Tide Snap. So they go with level 1 Little Shredder. They've got the Blightstone up, Gush is up as well. So there's a lot of minus armor here. Maybe too much, right? It's effective until you drag someone to 0. Past that point, it's kind of a waste, almost, in terms of amping damage up. Still, In Your Dream's going to have to watch himself. His 5 armors all the way down to -8 at the max Little Shredder, and he goes down to less than half HP if you're not cautious. So, very strong level 1 coming through from Omega in this lane.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, over in the mid lane, you do have Mikoto against Mamang Daya. You wonder whether the Viper's going to have that much of an impact in this mid lane. Like, I'm sure Mamang Daya will be fine not dying in this mid, but generally speaking, if you take this hero, you do want to really just be dominant. And so far, Mikoto is doing a really nice job of just keeping his distance. Though as I say that now, he's going to get close as Mamang Daya is getting rather aggressive. Looks like Mamang Daya will slowly but surely chip away at this Queen of Pain. But I suppose as long as you've got the blink up, you should be okay.
Yeah, it's not the scariest time for a Quap. You just have to watch how much of the poison attack you cop. I think by level 2 poison attack, that's when it gets worrisome. That's really the tipping point for the Viper to take over. Level 3 is probably the biggest spike. Still, Mikado doing a great job. He is cut off from the creep wave. And I think as long as Mamang Daya keeps repeating that, cutting off farm access, then you've done your job as a Viper. and just hold out until you hit 6. That's when your kill opportunity arises, and hopefully by then you do have that level advantage up.
Of course, top lane as well. Prince, Zenki going in. Joe Cam, he's in trouble. This should be first blood, and it will be. Prince able to pick it up. Mizu is at least going to try and get something for his trouble, but he will get nothing. This Prince will just keep whacking away with that massive sword he has. Mizu unable to help out his support Grimstroke.
Yep, it's a good take from Omega. They do have some really strong combinations there. The stun into cold feet, very easy setup to get the additional freeze off, and Prince can just run down and get some damage going through. So a strong lane for Omega. It tends to be a slower lane for Night Stalker no matter what, maybe until first nighttime. Once that's up, usually around that point you are level 4 or 5 on Night Stalker. You've got Hunter and Knight ready, so you have a little bit more presence, but before that point it is more passive, and Jokam's just going to have to focus on denying as much creeps as possible.
Oh, Makoto.
Get some
Yeah, Mamang Daya, we talked about this lane just a few minutes ago, John. Mamang Daya, he does make it work. Solo kill onto the Quap. Makoto, he got greedy trying to go after that water rune. It does not get it in time. Mamang Daya, very happy Viper in this mid lane.
Yep, level 3 spike, level 2 poison attack, not sustainable for Quap. And Mamang Daya now going to be comfy with a slight level lead. That does mean once he hits level 6, again, you're not going to have a good time on the Queen of Pain. And this is a bit of a shake-up from the past few games. No supports rotating around to secure runes. This does hurt the Quap a lot more. I think Mikato is going to need to get some help to secure the next water runes if there is going to be some aggression coming through from Omega.
So with this Mamang Daya, he sees the Quap, he's just going to go straight in with the poison attacks. Beauty is as well, you don't aggro the tower, even glyphs the creep wave just to make sure he can get in deep. Makoto already down to half his HP, just a very rough time. How's bot lane? In your dream, not having the greatest time either. 10-0, or rather 10-3. Not too bad, but when you compare to the Wraith King 19-2, yeah, you're definitely sitting much prettier if you are Prince.
Yeah, it's just that threat of the low shredder taking all your armor away, making you very vulnerable to the damage. Of course, at level 3 in your dream has the level 2 attribute shift. So you can kind of shift around a little bit easier, but it's not a fun time. And this is, again, showing how strong Omega can be in lane. They're just finding everything on every single lane, kind of repeating what we saw in Game 1. And for NGX, I worry about their scaling into late game because they've got Morphling into AA. Like, we talked about the possibility of Mizu jumping in, Mike. You pointed that out. But it's still a tough job for Mizu. As long as Zenki kind of finds the right spot, stays away from these fights, Ice Blast will be a consistent threat for the Morphling.
GX losing every lane, basically. The Viper, Tide, Wraith King, they're all having a great time. So Omega, I mean, at the very least, have a great laning stage sorted as Mamang Daya now going for another deep dive onto Makoto. Going to force the blink away again. Of course, he is going to force the max blink to come out from Makoto to make sure at least he can always have it off cooldown when he needs it. In terms of CS, Makoto, he's going to have to rely a bit more on the side camps in the jungle to keep up here with the Viper. And of course, Mamang Daya with the Rod of Atos coming out, going to be an even happier boy as bot lane Policy ends up going down here to Van and Aaron, and I suppose it goes back to the minus armor of the Tide Snapfire. Just way too high for the Bane.
Yeah, he just gets ripped to shreds with a little shredder, and they just managed to get that kill. 0-3, Omega off to a really good start, applying that pressure onto In Your Dream as you'd want to, and getting everything they need. They're getting good EXP scaling on Aaron as well, because he's just constantly camping that lane. Oh, In Your Dream?
Nightmare going to block out some of the damage In Your Dream. He's going to be okay. They are certainly just keeping this Morphling on edge. Paulson, he's going to have the salve anyway. Your Dream will be able to remain within the lane and get back to farming. You certainly need him to have a decent time. Like, this Viper's going to be a problem. And when we talk about Vipers not having a good lane and then just doing nothing all game, but Mamang Daya is having the exact opposite. CSing top of the board, Rod of Atos going to be up relatively soon. And then you expect rotations to come in from this Viper, and well, things will get rather tough for pretty much everyone on the map here from NGX.
Yeah, that's going to be a massive spike for Mamang Daya. You can see he's just being so aggressive. He makes his presence known, going to the triangle, might be able to snipe here.
He's got a haste rune, perfect rune for this kind of moment as Joe Cam going to get dived. Mamangdaya, no, unable to spot him out. He decides to just leave. There are stacks to be taken, but it's only level 1 Nether Toxin, and maybe he just doesn't feel quite safe enough to take it. And of course, he has to come back and address this mid-wave, as Makoto did immediately start pushing it in when he knew Mamangdaya rotated top. So nice little play there from Makoto to ensure that the retreat was there from the Viper. Though I gotta say, Mamangdaya, he really didn't miss out on much. Sure, you don't get the kill, but he's back in time to get all the CS.
They are committing a lot of heroes as well up there to kind of protect the Queen of Pain. Looking to maybe get some forward vision going. They don't really have obs wards though, but they will spot out some stacks. They should know that's where Makoto should rotate next. Omega, again, they've got the kills. They've got the score advantage so far. They might be able to snipe out Zenki.
Yeah, they're going to try. Zenki and actually juke out the Inkswell. So Nightmare's going to come in. Paulison will be able to chip away at the AA and eventually with a stroke. Oh boy, the neutral creeps. Oh, you hate to see it. The Mud Golem comes in and just takes the kill away. What do you do?
I mean, I like what Joe Cam did. He tried to aggro the neutrals to line up with the AA to amp up the damage of the Stroke of Fate. He just lacked 1 tick of damage. 1 tick. And the Golem just smashes our AA. So they're happy about that on Omega's end. They don't really lose anything to get info out that there was scouting being done. And they seem to just get the opportunity to maybe cancel their TPs mid. That's a lot of commitment out. So, in your dream though?
Trouble, but nice dodge on the cookie.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Only 3k net worth right now for our Morphling, so in your dream. We'll head up top now, not wanting to bother with this bot lane any longer. Because Prince, already down at the bot tier 1, is going to immediately take it out with the Wraiths. No problem. Try to do the exact same with the top lane, but that tier 1 tower is still pretty darn healthy. So Omega, if they want, can come back and try to force a defense here. NGX is going to keep at it. I suppose otherwise you just keep farming the map, and well, it looks like Omega, they don't really want to force the fight anyway. They're just going to keep the farm up. I suppose they understand they've got a net worth advantage right now, so no need to try and defend that top tier 1. It's not that valuable. And of course NGX, they'll just be happy that they have the chance to go after that top tower without having to deal with the side of the Steyr team.
Yeah, still going to be satisfied getting some space out for In Your Dream after that rough laning start. So he's going to have a little bit more access to that forward part of the top jungle. The side of Omega, they've got the Atos up on Mamangdaya, so they've got some more hold on the Viper. He could look to commit if they want to, and I think they are lining up for the mid-tier 1. Prince making his presence known as well. Only 3 skeletons on hand. They've got the damage with the little shredder on hand. It's not going to take long for this push to get going.
In tier 1. Nice and easy here for Omega.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
No response though. I mean, NGX just not feeling like they can respond. It's Mamangdaya now with the Rod of Atos going to move in. Wraith Fire Blast does land, but Makoto is going to be able to blink away. Does he survive? Yes, he does. Scary times now, John. With that Rod of Atos up, you've got so much more control. And Mamangdaya, he's not slowing down. He'll go down to the bot lane where he'll use it against onto Mizu. And Mizu, he's without a TP at the moment, so he's got no way out. Of course, not going to bother popping the Dark Ascension to try. This Viper is very active so far from Mamangdaya.
Yeah, he knows that it's Hurley Spike. Just running around, getting what kills they can. Up top, Zenki.
Duke around the tree line. Paulison trying to get the Nightmare. Zenki eventually is going to get caught. Aaron, though, gets a cookie in, but in your dream, he already got the final right click off.
Yeah, it's a freebie for In Your Dream. Again, he's basically uncontested top, so he's starting to catch up. Still behind Van, but top for his team is good news for NGX. Again, a similar scenario to game 1 where you're losing heroes left and right, but In Your Dream is secure in his position. You just kind of invest in that. Oh, Aaron.
Yeah, Fiend's Grip committed. Just a snap by, but Paulson, he did just hit the level 6 mark, so just wants to get it on cooldown ASAP, and of course In Your Dream definitely needs the gold right now. I mean, he's catching up quite nicely, but every hero kill you can get like that, you may as well take. In fact, they'll even get started on these dire stacks. The Dark Ascension has been popped bot lane. They're going to try and chase down the Tide Hunter. Mizu has got the control of the Inkswell. Van still trying to run. Ice Path, or rather Ice Blast, is going to be there. And now a Ravage. Van, he's going to try and fight back. Mizu not feeling confident to keep going while Mamang Daya shows up. And so they don't get the Tide kill.
Yeah, they managed to force out Ravage though. So at least they know that big team fight spot's down, and NGX will just smoke around that. Like, they've got Sonic Wave back up. They could look for a big jump in and burst someone down.
Give it a crack. Got a smoke on smoke though. Omega might be reading this smoke movement, so they'll head down bot. Mizu gonna TP out. They know something's wrong. Looks like NGX's smoke won't really pan out either, as Makoto just breaks it, gets back to farming. Understands that Omega is on the bottom side of the map.
Yeah.
Both teams just playing the avoid game.
It's where the information game kind of goes back and forth. Look at the wards from NGX. They've got a good ward watching the top jungle, and they also had that ward watching the bot jungle for a while. But they had the info, knowing that no one was showing on the map except the Wraith King on the mid lane. They can't be all in triangle. They must have been trying to swing around. Although, Chokam.
Yep, looking out. He's going to try and defend a little bit with the Stroke of Fate, but they immediately just catch him. Glyph was popped, but that's going to wear off now as well. And Prince, he's a very, very strong Wraith King at the moment. He does not want to back off. I mean, if you can get an early tier 2 tower and go for the outpost, you are sitting very pretty as Omega. You know, you can even start looking towards the Roshan after that. We'll get started, and it won't take too much effort to get it done, though Makoto is going to come in for a kill onto Aaron with the Sonic Wave. That's all he's going to get, because Omega, they still take the tier 2 and they'll take the outpost.
Yeah, it's a nice tower to take. They do spot out the DD. Mizu looking to grab it up, but...
Oh, they've got him. Rod of Atos is out. Nightmare to stop the Tide. He'll get the double damage eventually, but can he survive with it? Not quite. Among Dai has plenty of damage on the Viper. Get it done is now Zenki. Trying to chase down this Bane, but Hollison's going to be just alright.
And they're finding small pickoffs here in Omega. Kind of trading supports in the end, but finding Mizu still pretty big. Of course, the Night Stalker being held back from using Dark Ascension. And Omega understands they have such strong presence. Right? They just keep shoving out all lanes except top, pressuring the mid. They will go for a smoke play with Mamang Daya and Zenki, so looking to wrap around top. Lines were drawn by Aaron. Not really going to have prolonged vision there, but they know someone's playing up top. They could catch In Your Dream. They get the Ice Blast off, that could be nice. Let's see if they manage to do so.
Among Daya going to move up towards the north. No, in fact, he's found In Your Dream. Run of Atos is going to connect. Ice Blast will be there, but do they have enough time to hit him? It looks like they might have a bit more, but In Your Dream's out. The poison damage, though, he's gone. Surely, yeah, he is. Just barely. Mid lane, what they got? It's going to be the Wraith King Prince. He'll try to fight, though. Reincarnation's still up. He'll armlet toggle the best he can. They won't even be able to find the first life. So Mamang Dai showing up again on the Viper. Will pick off the Grimstroke. Mikoto, he tried to come in, but he cannot get Prince down. The armlet toggles are just way too good. And Mikoto just forced the TP out immediately.
Man, Omega, they've kicked into gear here. They know they're strong. They're playing around that timing. They managed to get the big jumps, killing off a lot of good heroes. And now they've got this blink in their Tide. They still have Ravage ready on Van. So they can keep going. Paulson?
Yeah, Rod of Atos out. Aaron will eventually get in range for a cookie, I'm sure. And yeah, they can't believe their eyes. Like, oh, he's really there. Bye, Paulson.
Middle tower is under attack.
And look at Prince. Just straight onto that mid tier 2 tower again. They're playing this very well, Omega.
Yeah, they're playing to their early power spike. They're going to have to deal now with more damage on Prince as the Desolate is flying out. Oh,
Makoto, I'm not sure about that. I mean, he'll get the reincarnation. Luckily for him, the Viper's not around. Mizu will keep the chase up. He doesn't really have a BKB up yet. He's going to still try and fight. Maybe they can fight him a second time, and they do. Very nice setup there by Makoto, and they even found Aaron, but now the Ravage flies through. Ice Blast lands on In Your Dream. They'll find the Morphling. They might even get more, but Zenki, he'll drop first. Here comes Momongdaya onto Joken with the Fiend's Grip. Gonna hold down the Viper. Maybe they can finally take him down, and it looks like they just may, as he has accepted he is gonna die. Mizu, he'll get Viper striked up. He may just make it out though, and he does. So in the end, a great setup there by Makoto. And a great team fight taken by NGX.
Yeah, it works out. They managed to get the kills they needed, get the punishment on that Raid King. Just playing with the armlet off at such low HP, I think he was looking to crit creep to get some HP back with his life steal. Doesn't pan out. And Omega now take a pretty big loss. That does swing their lead back down to just 2k. But it balances out because he killed In Your Dream, so he doesn't gain anything from that. Still, Morphling E-Blade timing is coming up. You're gonna need some protection here on Omega. You're gonna need a BKB up and some of your bigger cores. Momongdaya is queuing one up, but it's still very far off. And Aaron?
That's probably gone here. Mizu, they just know he's around somewhere, and well, eventually they will find the Snapfire. Gonna take a bit of time though. Aaron making it very hard. That's a great nightmare dodge by Polison. In fact, they found Mizu. Momongdaya's shown up. Now the kisses are there. My goodness. Very risky stuff.
Great turns coming from Omega. Finding the big core kill once more. Even if they mess up in support, you're perfectly happy with that. It works out. It doesn't give them too much in a swing, but does cut off that shove up top and still gives out space towards that Raid King to farm and towards Momongdaya to build into BKB. So that's the next item timing. So Prince.
He's got reincarnation back up now. They won't even jump him. They just want to, just delay his farming a little bit with that nightmare. Van, he's going to run into Makoto, and looks like they want to take over that Radiant Triangle now. Deny more farm away from In Your Dream. Though he does have the gold for the shotgun pretty much.
Middle tower is under attack.
You start to question, I mean, it's not the greatest shotgun timing. You wonder how easily he's going to blow people up in these team fights now. Maybe the AA is not too big of an issue, but after that AA, I wonder. In fact, top lane, Makoto, Viper striked again. He will just immediately TP up.
Radiant's top tower
Just
has fallen.
cutting off the co-op from any sort of defense. They take the top tier 1 here on Omega's side. Grosh is up. That should be the safest objective for them, and they will get started. They've got the minus armor in hand. They've got the damage. The side of NGX did have a ward, but it's mainly in the jungle, not really on the Rosh ship itself. They're going to be a bit blind to this move out. Going to have to deal with additional lives coming through, probably on Momongdaya. E-Blade, you mentioned, Mike, is up and running on In Your Dream, though, so the burst is there. But again, as you mentioned, a lot of them are tanky. So you might only be able to kill off the supports. Could still be big if you cut off the AA immediately, but catching Zenki out is going to be a bit of a task.
We just continue to keep all the lanes pushed out here in GX. Being very, very careful. Omega with the Aegis up, definitely want to try and make some form of a play. Those other tier 2 towers, and pings are coming out onto Makoto. Prince seems to know the Quap is there in the corner, and he was not incorrect in saying that. Was Makoto going to continue to creep skip here just to make sure they cannot get the tier 2 top tower?
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
The Omega, they're going to keep going, but of course the glyph will eventually just be forced down.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Suppose with the skeletons though,
Radiant's top tower
they can just tank through it. So no worries, they'll still have a creep wave to work with. Van will show up now as well. And there'll be no defense in this top tier 2 tower. Question is though, do they try high ground? Certainly feels a bit early, but you never know.
They could. They are playing a bit safe. They've got that blink up in Prince. Still no BKB. They've got the mobility. They've got the threat of Ravage here. And Jax are going to have to walk into the defense. It does melt fast. The minus armor with a little Shredder does make it fairly scary to just leave it alone. They will play it safe though. And NGX did get a smoke out. They could try to flank here.
Paulison looking for a nice Fiend's Grip target. Mizu, no blink or anything like that. He just bought a BKB to be able to survive these team fights. It's a smoke on smoke situation. Mamangdaya now going to chase down Mizu. Looking for a Rod of Atos target. On the side, what we got, it's going to be the Grimstroke, but Jokam going to be saved by the Ethereal Blade out from In Your Dream, but it won't be enough. Jokam, he's gone. Dark Ascension, though, is going to be popped. They found Zenki. The Glimmer Cape not going to save, but now the Rod of Atos to hold down Mizu. He'll BKB up in the back. Paulison, he's going to drop on the Bane. And he never got that Fiend's Grip off. It's gone for 30 seconds without buyback, and that should buy enough time for Omega to just go after this mid-tier 2, finish it off. Hell, they might have time for a tier 3.
And the Aegis is still up for 2 minutes and a half. They haven't really popped any big spells. And the AA is going to be up soon, and he could just play from global.
Uh-oh. In Your Dream. Cookie's going to land in time. Raid Fire Blast. Ravage committed. No Ice Blast. But they still might have enough. He'll try to wait for him, but no. Prince finds him. That's 45 seconds without In Your Dream. And now you might go all the way for the mid-racks. As the Ice Blast is now flying in. Paulson's going to cop it. Jokam gets caught out with the Rod of Atos, but there'll be no follow-up to it. Makoto, he'll try. BKB up. Sonic Wave is not going to be expended quite yet as Prince. He'll try to back off. But in they go again, slowly realizing In Your Dream does not have buyback. Paulson caught out another time, and he's got no buyback. Armlet Toggle still going from Prince in the meantime. He does not tie to the Sonic Wave. Prince is still alive. Can you believe it?
Oh, man. On point with the toggles. Lots of protection coming through. Oh,
this time, messed it up a little bit there. Not going to stick around for the mid-barracks, it seems like. Mamangdaya, though, he'll stick around as Makoto. He blinked into this. He'll use up. Can he survive? Ice Blast, not on target. They just want the melee barracks. NGX making it as hard as humanly possible. Prince, without the reincarnation, does not want to go for this. Makoto, Rod of Atos up again. Mamangdaya getting cookied forward. That'll be enough. They got the racks they wanted. Omega trying to calmly get out, but look at Mamangdaya. He just keeps kiting in and out, going after Makoto, spreading that Queen of Pain. That'll allow absolutely everyone from Omega Esports to just leave the building.
Great fight, great push coming out from Omega. Again, they just know how strong they are. They've got better team fight, they've got better control. For NGX, they have to keep jumping the backline. They have to take care of the supports first, run from there. They do have a good smoke. No Ravage here for half a minute. They could get a good jump.
15 seconds for that Aegis to expire. Scan is there. Dark Ascension will be popped. Who do you want to aim first, though? Aaron, not quite bad. He'll jump in. Ravage in 15 as well. If the fight goes long enough, you'll have it back up. Still, they have not picked the target. They're really committed to us. Mizu now. He'll pop his own BKB. They almost found Mamangdaya, and they time it perfectly. The Aegis just expired. So Mizu, he'll try for a bit more. Zenki will show up and clean up Mizu. But they should be dead, I think. The AA eventually will go down. Man, though, he's a tankier boy, and now the Ravage comes out. They do at least get Paulison, but he'll buy back. They even found Jokam, though. He's got no buyback. Prince, he tried to TP out. He's not making it, though, and he's going to end up going down. As now maybe they can really capitalize. They found Aaron, and Van's the only one left. It should be a full team wipe here for NGX. As Van, he'll keep trying to fight. But it will indeed be a full team wipe.
Now, it's such a well-timed fight from NGX. They managed to catch out the Aegis right as it expired. Mamangdaya doesn't get his presence there. And because it's still really early in the game, 26 minutes in, our Raid King's still 17. So his cooldown on reincarnation's a lot longer. If he was 18 with level 3 reincarnation when he first died, I think he might have been able to live through, do more damage and turn that around. So unfortunate for Omega, good punishment from NGX staying in the game. They don't have clear objectives to go for as the mid-tier 1 still stands, so they can't really invade all too far. And respawns are still short for Omega, so they'll be back in the fight soon. AC up for Prince, so more armor and more damage for him as well.
Oh, Aaron. No, still not down. Aaron is actually going to make it out. Makoto going to try and snipe the kill, but he can't get it either. Aaron's still sticking around. Makoto forced the BKB and try to get out. It's a tanky snapfire.
Yeah, very good use of the Glimmer Cape here from Zenki every single time. That's 2 times in a row now we've seen him make saves on these forward heroes, and his positioning on the AA has been on point. He just needs to really protect himself when the engagements actually break out. They need the Ice Blast up. You need to be able to threaten in your dream with that spell, kind of get control of that Morphling. Until that point, you know, just play it from the back, I think, as best as possible. Omega, 7k lead still stands her way. 4k ahead of In Your Dream. Prince is having a great time. With the AC, he will rip literally everyone but the Morphling to shreds. And it becomes a lot harder for NGX to protect their Grimstroke and Bane. Like, we haven't seen the big Soulbind combinations come through. We haven't seen big Fiend scripts come through from Paulson. It's been a very hard game for him to hammer in that control. I think if NGX can also find good position for their supports, it can end up their way.
Makoto going to go in after Aaron again, but Aaron, he's playing bait right now. Mizu is taking a lot of damage, but he'll be able to get away as Makoto really wants Aaron dead, but he's still not dying. Eventually, he's forced to BKB up and get the scream off, but in the back, who have they got? It looks like they found the Wraith King. That'll be the first life. They find him a second time. Mizu still just kiting in and out of this fight. Soulbind will be there to lock down 2. Nightmare out as well onto the tie, but he's alright as they get Joe Cam. Your Dream should be able to waveform just fine, and he does have the BKB anyway. But they are still on the chase.
Oh,
BKB forced. He'll be okay.
Quick fingers. If he did manage to get stunned out there, they had the Ice Blast ready to go from Zenki. Would have been a nice snipe. Still, smoke opportunity for Omega. They've got Ravage ready. If they find an angle, they can look to force a fight. Roshan's up as well, so one more pick-off could mean an additional Aegis or the high ground for Omega here.
I mean, they know the BKB's down, so it definitely feels like good timing here for Omega to try and force this.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Of course, with the skeletons, it doesn't take Prince very long.
Radiant's top tower is fallen.
Pretty hard defense now for NGX.
Radiant's top barracks.
Looks like they probably won't even try. They'll just let the barracks go down. That'll be
Radiant's
enough.
top barracks are under attack.
Because Omega, they're still looking to play for that Roshan that has spawned up. Second Rosh of the game.
Dyer's top tower is under attack.
If you're NGX, you're not in a position to allow Omega to take this. You may have no choice in the matter, but they're going to smoke up as 5. They're going to try and force a fight. Seems like Omega have read the movement, though. They wait in the triangle instead of going into the Roshan pit, where NGX, they think the Roshan's happening at the moment. Radiant scan out is going to find nothing in that Roshan pit.
Dire are scanning.
Take the Dire jungle instead.
Great Dire scan. They should know the flank is coming in. So they're going to hammer in their position here on Omega to just play in the triangle, not dip out too far. They still might be able to catch a couple of stragglers, though. Mamundai does show for a bit, but we'll see.
Counter smoke. They're going to run the long way around as well. Another smoke. So a 5-on-5. A lot of tension between these two teams. Of course, this Roshan just so important. Especially for NGX. You just can't afford to let it go down. Makoto. Oh, they get the stun off Makoto. He did not get the BKB in time. And they will just ravage and make sure he dies. He's down for 70.
That is massive. Like, they're not going to be able to fully contest Roshan here on NGX's side. They are still posturing, though, as the Omega are under vision.
Yeah, Mizu, look at the amount of damage Prince does with one hit. Takes out 1/3 of Mizu's HP. And that'll be it. Omega, the safe play in the Roshan. It's NGX, they understand they cannot defend this at the moment.
No, they can't hold off against it, not without the Quap's mobility and damage. They are just going to have to accept that. Second life will be up once more for Mamangdaya. Prince is going to free... No, actually, they give it to Prince. All right. Our Ag Shard also goes to Mamangdaya instead. So the poison attack on armor will play in, and sieging is going to be easier with... No, never mind. They pass it again to Zenki. Right, so the Ice Vortex with damage blocking off blinks is going to be good. Reducing attack speed, great against the Morphling and the pop to an extent. So you have a lot going for you here with a spike to TP down.
Yeah, Mamangdaya.
What?
Something in your dream. This is by
Why is there a
himself.
Titan Sliver?
Where?
It dropped right... So Mamangdaya got a creep kill while TPing and the item TP'd with him. What is that?
Oh, I don't know, John. What do you do? I mean, you know, the item's meant to follow Mamangdaya. I guess it was perfectly timed.
Yeah, if he did get caught out and let's say he jumped into more heroes than he expected, they would have lost the Titan Sliver, so that would have been pretty bad. Still, gonna be fine. Guess Mamangdaya was surprised as well.
Yeah, he'll use it though. Just a lucky Titan Slither at this rate. One lane of barracks left here for Omega. Of course, they still have the range barracks to take out at the top lane, but it's not too hard of a task. NGX though, defending this base is going to be a very hard task, it feels like. It's Aegis and shards up now. They gave the shards over to the... either the AA or it was the Snapfire. Either one's pretty good, I suppose. But I do like the Snapfire one a bit more. So having that stun and the pushback on the Scatter Blast just feels very nice.
Yeah, especially that blink up. Like we can see Aaron just look for the angles, get the initial stun off for the team. They can set up from there. Smoke out from Omega, Ravage back up. Let's see if they find the angle for the circle around here.
Izu be caught off guard. Man, smoke broken. Immediate Ravage though. In fact, they found the Morphling! And the backline, they got the Morphling, but he's going to BKB and just back off. But without that BKB, can he defend the Megas? They're going to go for that bot Rax. It's a very hard defense without that magic immunity.
I don't think they can. Like, Prince just hits way too hard, you know?
Still dropping low here, Prince. Don't forget, he has 3 lives. So even if you get him the first time, you've got to get him the second time. And then probably another time before you get the real life. Mortimer's kisses to zone them out, and GX cannot get close. Makoto, he'll try to just chip away at the side of Omega. Gleipnir is out there for both supports here. Wraithfire Blast will land onto Joken with a double Fiend Grip. Polison will hold them down. Sonic Wave out. Where's the response? It'll come in now. Ice Blast. It won't land in your dream. He's deep. He goes down. You'll have to commit the buyback. Mamangdaya, he is gone on the Viper. They're going to look to try and turn this with the Young Portrait. They'll get rid of the Zenki. Now onto Prince, onto Van. They might have enough. They've got Prince down the Wraith King. And it's onto Van now. The Tidehunter, the only man left. How do you get a double full duration Fiend's Grip like that? Jokem gets the tip.
Yeah, Paulson from all the way back, lining up finally with a Soul Bind. And that combination pays off. Even the Dark Portrait's starting to do a lot of work here with how farmed up Prince is. And NGX get to hold on. They still have to eat through the mid-tier 1. They should be able to find that. Omega down for not too long. Like a minute longest on the Wraith King. So they will have enough time to respond for an eventual high ground push if they do push all the way through the tier 2s. NGX still playing on the back foot. But they're showing us they do have ways of clearing that out. I think for Omega, they kind of have to be cautious with how clumped up the Wraith King and the Viper are. Like, you kind of want... It's an issue of control. You only have one really good stun on your support, and that is on your Snap. And we saw that immediate blink in from Aaron. He did not find the angle to catch the Bane out with the Scatter Blast mini stun. And they did just get punished there. Tier 2 going to be fortified. Looks like Omega are banking on those low respawns to hold off on that push. That does mean they won't have it for the high ground, though.
Gleipnir out. Still got 2 targets. Mizu has a BKB if he needs to pop it. He hasn't yet. They do at least get Aaron down, but Prince has jumped in. Stun connects. BKB never went off. Prince just too quick with the stun. Both heroes have buyback. They get a T1. That's about all they get though, John. NGX not able to find much more.
Yeah, Omega respawns were really short. So it was kind of optimistic to rip into the tier 2s. They did take a gambit with a Fortify on the tier 2. but they did manage to make it work. And now Omega will smoke up. They've got Ravage back up. They know they can force this push on the last set of racks. And for NGX, they might need to buy back on Mizu despite him respawning fairly soon.
Go. Trying to force it again. This time without an Aegis print. Oh, Ravage out. They want Joe Cam. They do not want a repeat. That is a big, big kill. But Nightmare now in the tier 4 towers. Maybe they've gone too far. Have they? That's one. Oh, Bean trips out through the BKB. In your dream, he'll get to work. Not like this, Prince. Not like this. They lost in your dream, though. How does in your dream die?
The blast
Oh,
made it through.
Boy. I think they might have the damage to get through this bottom racks. Mizu. He's going to get started. Makoto, he's going to keep trying to fight back. Gleipnir out again. They've caught the Quamp. That's the one they really want. They'll have plenty of damage, but he'll get to the fountain. There's Megas. Onto the tier 4s. It's not looking great. Now, how do you defend? Omega, onto the Ancient they go. It's been a long, arduous game, but it looks like they've got it within their hands. And it'll be theirs, Omega. They'll finish off the game. They'll draw out the series 1-1. What a game it was.
That's Omega's first win in the BTS Pro Series 9, and what a way to get that win. A very dominant start from them. They managed to get this really strong opening with Mamangdai as Viper just holding on to mid. Really overwhelming start from him, just getting the kill he needed and the control he needed over Mikado early on. That last fight, man, like, you managed to kill Prince while he was diving tier 4s, but the Ice Blast, it didn't blast on in your dream, but it went past him. Perfectly straight line. And the Morphling just melted. So it's an unfortunate back and forth. Omega this time, you know, pulling through to get a draw. First win in BTS Pro Series 9. This team, as we mentioned, have a lot of potential going forward because every single loss they've had was a struggle of a loss. Like, the enemy team had to work so hard to find openings. I think we're starting to see them grow a little bit more with Mamangdai in, with Eren in. I think these additions will help solidify Omega. We'll see how they hold up if they keep playing these two players. NGX, they put up a good fight. They went back to the Morphling. As you mentioned, Mike, though, the counters were there from Omega, and Morphling's just very hard to pull off when specific heroes are available on the enemy team.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's going to be another Morphling loss, Jonathan. I can't remember the last time we saw Morphling win, to be frank. With that, though, that is going to be it for tonight. Of course, it is MLP johnxfire. I believe you and I are going on break for 2 days, and Aries and Dan are going to take over, so enjoy those guys. Till then, though, we'll be back in 2. It's MLP and John. See you guys next time.